Hello, Midland Christian family, and welcome to the MCS podcast telling the story of Midland Christian School, past, present, and future.
Back here in the studio, building on the conversation we had from the previous episode when we had students on, just talking about the different challenges that we face as parents. And the first perspective we got was from the students and where they came from. And so we wanted to bring some other parents in from the school and have a conversation surrounding that. So I've asked two parents from our Parent Advisory Council to join me today, Taylor Potts and Jessica Louder. Taylor, your kids are what grade again?
I've got twins in third grade. Both
Okay.
of them. Yep.
Jessica?
I have a sophomore in high school and a seventh grader and a kindergartner.
We had a really in-depth conversation with they were seniors. You guys are all seniors, right? Just surrounding the topic of a couple different things. It started with phone conversations, how they were raised with them, how they were introduced to them, and the different dynamics that were brought about by their parents. All the kids were at a place in their life where they could have open-ended conversations with their parents. They felt comfortable going to them with mistakes, going to them with in an honest kind of open format, which was also interesting. But another big dynamic of it was they built them to be kids who are and can identify, I believe, with that model that we're all trying to get our kids to build upon at this school, which is the care model. It just made me realize that I don't think there's one way to do anything in regard to parenting. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've talked about in our meetings before, whether it's dress code, whether it's phones, whether it's different dynamics that we have at the school. So bringing you guys in, we just want to expand upon that conversation. And I'll start with you, Jessica. I'll ask you a question. How have you dealt with the dynamics of having kids in three different kind of environments of school? So right now you have a high schooler, you have a junior high, and you have an elementary kid.
Yes.
And how has that taught you from one kid to the next in terms of dealing with each kid?
Oh, well, the kindergartner is getting to do a lot more than the older two got to do in kindergarten. It's so true. They said that your baby is as old as your oldest kid, in the household. But in the same regard, I feel like with our oldest, Price, he's been so sheltered, and I think he continues to be a little more sheltered because we have kindergartner, and they are all very different. And I do feel like Reeves is getting to see more the baby, but then he also has those older siblings' eyes on him as well. Like, oh, Reeves shouldn't be watching this, and he knows to listen to them, which is kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off of me because we didn't put that responsibility on them, but they've sure taken it and run with it.
Yeah, I've got an older brother. I think we had a similar dynamic where brother was a little bit of a, caretaker, but he was kind of on the lookout for me, often, and I kind of grew up as fast as he was growing up at times. Although there was just enough gap that we could kind of separate, and I could kind of go my own way a little bit, but still I was hitting some of those milestones a little bit earlier. So I think it's probably just a natural element to it with everybody in the same household too. But mine's different. I've got twins, so if I'm screwing up, I'm screwing up. all at once. Like there is no backup plan. There is no redo.
A quick learning curve.
There it is.
Right?
Figured out fast.
We were a lot more relaxed with Reeves than we were the other two. The other two turned out so great, so we may be totally messing up. I don't know.
Have you guys ran into, or what has been your thought in regards to hey, we know that you're going to mess up at some point in time.
Yes.
But we want you to be able to come to us, have the conversation. We deal with the consequences together and we learn from it.
I don't know that we've gotten into that just yet. Now they definitely have their own personalities. I mean, again, we're talking about little kids, little problems, little lies at this point. Mm-hmm. And they have different times, different moments, different events will kind of trigger different things in them with regards to their openness with us. But Aaron and I, luckily, have always been on the same page, and with a goal in mind as they get older that we want to have. It's our desire, however we get there, we get there. It's our desire to have open communication at all times with our kids, and we've tried to reinforce since they were little and enough that they could understand that I promise the consequences are much less if you tell us the truth the first time. I promise.
Yes.
Like try me, and really trying to test it, like allow them to test that and try what the consequences are when you don't tell the truth. And I've seen that open dynamic and that open kind of line of very, very open. Almost sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe kids would tell their parents that. But I've seen that modeled before. And I feel like that pays dividends down the road and through maybe some of the tougher years as you get into high school and progress into college and then bigger kids and you get bigger problems, right? And but being able to lean on that, on the confidence that you can walk in to a parent and express fill in the blank and how valuable that truly is. It may be tough in the moment, of course, but that's definitely a shared goal, a shared desire of Aaron and I's. Both is to have with both kids and hopefully with both parents. But if it turns out that one's more, trends towards the other one, that's fine as long as there's communication happening somewhere in the house. To us, that's extremely valuable, without a doubt.
My daughter is already trends towards wanting to talk to mom first and be like, hey, can you tell dad I need to talk to him and things like that? Because there can be times where I can be a little bit more reactionary in the moment. And when mom comes and tells me, hey, Cecilia really needs to talk to you about something, it's like, oh, okay. I need to make sure I'm preparing myself for that moment in the conversation. And
I've had to learn really quick because, like I said, if I'm screwing it up, I'm screwing it up for everybody all at the same time. But I've had to learn really fast, or continuing to learn, how I respond to one is not the answer for the other. And that's less to do with boy and girl, but they're just different people. Even if they were the same gender, their responses may be different. I've had to craft responses and reactions completely different, and that's probably the toughest thing that I've had to learn. It's not a one size fits all.
We try to praise him. Like, that's the first step, is owning up to it, because we want to be there to help you. Whatever you do wrong ever in life, like, come to us first. We're going to love you no matter what, and we're going to help you work through it. And there's going to be consequences, whether they're natural or from us. But that's such a huge first step. And we do try to praise him, even though, we might want to kill him. But
yeah, no doubt.
Sure.
I always think, I go back to that first part of it because this has been a big thing for me as I've learned, and this has come, I wish I'd learned it at a younger age. I wish I had the basis for the model that we're trying to help these kids walk into. But that Christ-likeness portion of that care piece, that's something that I really lean into in regards to trying to deal with them, is like the first thing I have to kind of remember is grace, and also the forgiveness and how we're treated from, our Father's perspective in terms of God. And it's like, man, like, I can't treat them any differently than I've been treated. So I need to be like, that's been something that's really helped me through those times where I'm like, I seem like I'm going to react very poorly.
Yeah.
But,
and that's a great, to me, it's a great reminder, a great testament to being a part of the community of this school, is because everything that we're trying to enforce at home and remind our kids of when we speak of grace and we try to model grace, for example, we know that that's getting, they're being reminded, and it's getting reinforced when they step on campus here too, which is always something that we don't take lightly and we really cherish and really value too as well.
As we try to model his image, their first image outside of what we're able to disciple them with is what they see us do.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying to be the best possible model of him, they see that at an early age. And it seems like I feel like it's a broken record sometimes, like, especially with younger kids. I've noticed that. I'm like, I'm repeating myself a lot in this house.
Mm-hmm.
But and then all of a sudden it, like, something clicks and they come do something just out of purely the repetitiveness of the conversation or whatever it may be. And you're like, oh, they get it. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't just doing this for nothing. So I know you brought up the idea of how we're modeling for our kids what the school is reinforcing here, which I think goes to the kind of one of the original topics we talked about. It is our job first to model for them what the school's trying to reinforce, which, as we've discussed before, is those 4 pillars, which is the care model. For those who don't know, it's Christ-like, academically prepared, relationship driven, and emotionally intelligent. I wanted to like go build something and put it on our wall and be like, hey, this, when you're 18 and you leave this house, if you're solid in these 4 foundations, like, I'm not worried about you. And you want to decide to flip cheeseburgers your entire life, like, I'm good.
No, without a doubt. And I was, again, going back to how grateful we are to be a part of the community here at school, is that if I had to articulate the same ideal graduate profile out of our house when you graduate from our house and you move on, it'd almost be identical to this. I don't know what misses from the care profile here at school. And if you had to say, man, if we could check all these boxes, I think we did pretty stinking good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's humbling too, but it's also holds me accountable when you read through this and it's like, man, which one of these am I failing on? Which one of these can I improve on? And did I graduate in this manner, right? Did I hit it on? And so if not, man, where can I help? And maybe depending on the age of your kids, bringing them into the fold and, expressing some of that humility to them and kind of humbly saying, hey, I'm not very good at, X, Y, and Z, and I need some help here too, so we can work on this and charge forward together. But I think it's a great resource. I think it's a great tool. And if it hung on the wall everywhere around the building and at your house too, I think it would serve its purpose without a doubt, because I think it hits on all the marks. And it's a great goal. It's a great kind of, kind of centers everybody that attends this school and allows, and we're not going to rule by committee, but we're going to rule as a community type of thing and kind of all pressing towards the same goals in the same direction. I'd be curious if many of the kids have latched onto it, but and at what age do they kind of take notice of this and they understand some of the things and they see where a few of these characteristics start to weave into their life and have results and start to yield fruit. So, but I'm really glad that this was articulated and put out there and put on paper.
I was going to ask you, do you see your olders starting to...
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, having the oldest kids here, like, I see this in their friends. I see this in themselves. They've nailed it more than me, I feel like. And you dealing with high school boys, I can't, like, just the peers that both Price and Alexis are around, like, are just top notch. They're all going to falter and make mistakes, but they are hitting so many of these, and I can't imagine it's all just their parents. Like, it's this community, it's the school, it's what they're exposed to every day, it's the standards that they're held to.
It brings out a lot of emotion when I think about the seniors that are on campus right now, and then you can look behind them and start to identify a lot of kids that are similar, but there's something unique about this group of seniors, and it's when if you go through this model, you go through this CARE acronym, you can see a lot of this present in those kids. I really do. I mean, just on the football team, you kind of look across. I was sitting there over the weekend looking at a picture of all the senior boys. I'm like, man, that group in particular made this year so much fun. Yeah. So much more unique than years past. And all of these characteristics just ooze out of those kids. I mean, they really do. And what a fantastic model for the juniors and the sophomores and the freshman class and even the 8th and the 7th grade to be able to watch that be modeled, not only on the field, but in the locker room and on the road and in the bus and on campus and at events off of campus. And I know that goes for a lot of the other seniors just outside of football. I've got the most exposure there, of course, but it's, and I'm so grateful. I tell everybody across the country that I deal with in my job that I'm grateful that my kids are able to see that and be exposed to that and walk the same halls as Price and the seniors now and some of the freshmen that are on campus, and that all of their days are somehow woven together and they get to see and interact in little ways, and how valuable that is. And what a unique setting compared to other places that are available, but how valuable that is, and it's unlike any other experience.
And my husband and I, we chose Midland Christian. We're both from small schools, Sterling City and Stanton, and that was my whole upbringing, was seeing those older kids and modeling how I wanted my high school career to go, what goals I wanted to do this in sports. I wanted to get this award because I saw those older kids, and just we loved Midland Christian because it had that small town feel, and you got to go to pep rallies and you got to see those leaders, and that's kind of all we wanted. But to have the Christian aspect with it as well is just like so amazing. I mean, we're so blessed to be here.
Yeah, this has been a new dynamic for me. Like, I grew up in a pretty small town, but we had a really big high school, and everything was kind of drawn to that high school. So, like, when the first time my wife was like, yeah, there's a pep rally, I'm like, wait, what? There's a pep rally? She's in kindergarten. She can go to pep rallies. Or, like, the interaction of homecoming. And I've just really come to realize how much these kids do feed on their peers. And that modeling from the older kids, from high school to junior high to elementary school, these kids connecting from mentorships and the different things that they do and stuff like that is, I think there's just I think it's a model that could be used outside of what we do here from a private school. I mean, it's just it's an incredible look at what kids are able to accomplish by being in relationships. I mean, they're learning not only have a relationship with God, but have a relationship with other people too.
Right.
Understand the importance of the responsibility of being a high schooler, and there's junior high kids and there's elementary kids looking up to you.
Absolutely.
They're already learning that aspect of it. So that's a pretty cool dynamic that they've created here.
Yeah, just even this morning, Ryan was fired up because she had Bible buddy today.
Oh, yes.
You know, and that's, you know, I'll stop short of saying it's meaningless for the older kids, but man, it's everything for those younger kids to be able to interact, be seen with an older kid, maybe a middle schooler or a high schooler, and then pouring into the Word together, but just and being involved with one another. I mean, it's everything for those little kids.
Yeah. All right, we Katie Bundy's with us. She was on the previous episode when we talked to the high schoolers, and this was a good chance to bring her into the conversation with some other parents and kind of build on what we've just already been talking about, from being a younger student to now being an older student, a senior, and that mentorship that she has with younger students and just the example that she gets to set for everybody. So we wanted to bring her in and join the conversation. We were talking about, when did you start here?
I started, my first year was in fifth grade.
Okay. So you've been here 8 years now. Wow. So we were talking about how the dynamic of like something like Bible Buddy, or from a sports setting, older sports kids, seniors, varsity kids, junior high kids, everybody being part of pep rallies, everybody having a chance to interact probably throughout the day sometimes. What's that meant to you from a perspective of seeing the example at one point in time to now being the example?
I remember the seniors of Mr. Elliott's class, they were the first Bible buddies ever, and so I was like the first class to ever have a Bible buddy. So yeah,
Were you in fifth grade?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And so like it's been really cool to like, I got to be a part of that for the first time, and then I get to be this for other kids, and so I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that I get to be a part of that still. So, but this year we got our kindergartners, and so when we do the kindergarten walk, we get to like have a relationship with our kindergartners already.
What's that like with the youngest of the kids in school?
They're pretty cute. They really just like, if you color, they'll just talk to you the whole time, and so you just listen, and it's all over the place. But they're pretty sweet.
It is. And you don't have to try very hard with kindergartners, even all the way through elementary. As an older kid, because we didn't have the same dynamic. We had Bible buddies, but we did have kind of an older to younger influence when I came from, and it was kind of a pain in the butt when you were a senior and a junior and all that stuff. I mean, to be honest, but looking back on it, you don't have to try very hard with those little kids, and that's all they talk about for weeks on end. And just like my daughter is in third grade, and she's looking forward to Bible buddy every time, like every single time. And I don't even think they really do anything,
Yeah.
Yes.
half the time, but it's just that involvement and seeing that
Yes.
modeling and always kind of having that person or that group to aspire to be is so valuable. And so having an older group of kids at this school right now they're doing the right thing, they're modeling the right way, you contribute to yourself and your peers. I mean, you're hitting all the marks on the care profile. That's going to pay dividends down the road without a doubt in the younger generations.
Yep.
I remember that making an impact on me too, but also through high school, like my sophomore year, my freshman year, there was a junior guy, and his name was Will Scholmer, and he just was friends with everyone, but really made me feel included and like would invite me to, like, we would have campfires at his house, and like I was the only underclassman that he was, inviting, and all of my girlfriends were there too, so it wasn't like that, but it was like we were like, he just made me feel so included and a part of high school and a part of things. And so like I want to be able to do that for, like, as an upperclassman for the lower classmen and the freshmen that have just come into high school, so that can carry on every year.
What is the biggest thing, like, you feel like from a mentor place you could, with younger kids and you're getting ready to go to college and stuff like that you're just like, this school has really helped me be prepared to do this?
Yeah, we had I can't remember what college he was from, but he was part of the admissions team, and he came to our Bible class and was talking with us, and someone just said, I don't feel prepared for college. People are saying, like, seniors preparing me, I don't feel prepared. And he said, have you ever written a paper of any length? And we all said yes. And have you ever had homework outside of school? And we said yes. And he said that he had 2 sons and one went to public school. He said he never wrote a paper and he said he never remembers him doing homework at home outside of school, and that his other child that was in private school did papers and was doing homework. And so like that, like I was like, okay, like I'm going to be able to do this. And also I just remember all throughout, like starting in 7th grade, my mom would just say, like, go ask your teacher because they want to help you. And that's true here. Like they're ready for you to come and ask. And so like, I think for you, just encouraging your child, like, go ask your teachers because they really do want to help you, and it's beneficial. So
I think a lot of well, college is just more school, and you've done school for 18 years of your life, let's say. Do you think as a senior you're prepared to do life by yourself? Because school, you can just do some more school, and you'll kind of find a groove there pretty easily. But do you think you're prepared for living by yourself, making decisions about what to eat tonight, where to shop, how to do laundry, where to hang out, all the, like, do you feel prepared?
So I feel like I have maybe a unique situation where I'm planning to go to LCU, and so my parents met there and my grandparents met there, and so like I've grown up and I go to summer camps there every summer, so I feel comfortable there. Okay. But we dropped my older brother off at college, and like I just remember like we were saying goodbye, and I'm like, from this moment on, like he's an adult now, and like he's not on his own, but like he's just has to figure this out now by himself. And so like that moment, like I'm like not ready for that. Like it's gonna be so scary, and like I have family in Lubbock, so I feel like if I need something I can have it, but I just think like emotionally mature, that portion of the care, that's what I think is going to be most important in college. And so I think my mom's done a really good job of preparing me for that, and like being able to rationally think through things and things like that. And so I think I feel prepared in that portion, but I'm sure there's a ton that I just don't know yet,
Oh, of course.
So
it probably didn't dawn on me until I think I was sitting in it was early on in my freshman semester, and it's like some kids that I knew and hung out with, they just didn't come to class, and I was just kind of like never before had that really been an option for me in my mind. I was like, I'm just going to skip school because I was always accountable to somebody for something, right? And then once you get to college, you just, I don't want to go to school today. Like, all right, what else can I just do today? You know what? I can just leave town. I can go on a trip with friends. Like, I don't have to ask permission to go on a road trip. You know, some of those things where I was like, man, I don't know if I was ready for this, but this is kind of cool. You know, but
I think one thing that the school has implemented recently, the Missions Week
Mm-hmm.
and allowing the kids to go. Like, Prize is going to Africa
Really?
for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
I went to Africa.
That's awesome.
last year. It's
Okay, well, and he's one of us are not going, which I always in my mind was like, well, I will go if he is leaving the country. I'll go wherever he goes. And he just felt very strongly about going, and Jody and I talked about it, and we were like, okay, I think that this is a good time in life to gain some perspective, and so with people that we trust, and I think like things like that our school offers, he's gonna have to be in control of himself and make decisions and choices and keep up with his things, and so but it's like has a safety net around it, and lots of prayer, but still he'll get to learn some of those lessons. And our school's facilitating that. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think that was a great conversation. It was a great continuation of what we did before with you guys being in the room, with the seniors, having some parents, getting your guys' perspective. I think everything that the school and the parents as a community are driving towards. So I appreciate you guys coming. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us again. It was fun.
Thanks, Katie.
Yes.